And we're recording. And we're recording.
That's your funny
YouTube
shit.
always picks a picture anyway. Hi, everybody. This is Quantum, talking about Quantum number 3.
Three.
It's the 4th, but the 3rd one because we had a special edition one.
That's right, yeah.
To the, I can't remember what it was for now. The 9/11 memorial
That's
time.
right.
And yeah, and it's actually been probably a couple of weeks since we did the last one because I decided to go away for a few days up to Early Beach. I mean, I live in Queensland, and with all the border restrictions, you can't really go anywhere. But the good thing about Queensland is it's that big that I could travel north about 1,100 kilometres and still be in Queensland. That's like going, because Nikki's in the UK, that's like going from the UK to Italy, you know. So, it really is. It was like an 16-hour drive with an hour's stop for a sleep and fuel stops and stuff like that. And yeah, so that was really nice. I went up to a place called the Whitsundays, which is sort of the lower end of the Great Barrier Reef, to do a bit of snorkeling, get out in the warm sea, which was so that was a beautiful, nice little break because the energies have been quite intense of late. And how have you been? How have you been over the last couple of weeks?
Good. Things have really tightened up in the UK lately. We've had panic buying of turkeys in the supermarkets. Can you believe it? For Christmas. We've now got restrictions on the pubs closing at 10 o'clock. Not that I'm even gone to the pub, not bothered about it, but just sort of showing the things that are tightening up again.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. And myself, I've just been, because I know we had a discussion a few days ago and we was both kind of feeling the same, just like a little bit in a lull, like kind of no direction, just in a lull. And so I've been sitting with myself, going into my heart space, and yeah, that's beautiful, but still not much direction.
No, I'm the same. I'm exactly the same in that I'm wandering around. Like up until Monday, I was really lost. But leading up to that, I was like, what am I supposed to be doing in my life? I didn't feel like being the healer anymore. I felt like that was done. I'm like, no, I've had enough of that. And it just felt like its purpose was done. And I was like,
yeah,
but all the switchover hasn't happened yet. What's going on? And I know there'll be astrologists out there saying there's some big planet conjunctions with Jupiter and Saturn pretty much on the level with each other at the moment. And Uranus was leveled up with Neptune, I think, was leveled up with the moon last night as well, along with the Saturn and Jupiter. So there's big planetary stuff going on as well.
Yeah, and Charlie Freak says Saturn and Jupiter are the father and the son in perfect alignment.
Well, Jupiter's associated with the underworld in regards to, I think, Roman mythology. Jupiter's the guardian of the underworld. Yeah, and that's to do with Chinese. No, I know that's it because the very first tarot deck I ever had was an astrological tarot deck, and Jupiter in that was like an underworld character. And I'm pretty sure it's Greek or Roman mythology that is associated with that as well. So basically, it just means that with Jupiter playing big energies coming from Jupiter, it's bringing all your deep shadow stuff to the surface. Yeah, and that would explain why I was feeling lost. What the hell am I doing with all this healer stuff? Am I supposed to be doing it still? I don't, I was getting, my clients had dried out pretty much. And it was a challenge, to say the least. So, and I called on a friend who does a lot of lives and does a lot of energy meditation lives during this time. And yeah, I went and saw her, and she basically tuned me into another past life that I had to clear. And I'm like, really? Another one? And I'd only done a big healing with you only about 3-4 weeks ago. So to bring in such another deep layer, I'm like, that's unprecedented. Absolutely unprecedented that to do 2 massive clearings within a month of each other. They're
Yeah.
not normally that close. So, and it's just the universe basically clearing as much as it can during this time. We're clearing
Yeah.
as much as we can. So anybody else that's watching this or going through, don't know what they're doing with their life, you know, if you're having a lot of darker thoughts, work on those as well, because it's all part of it. It's all part of it. It's just your deep, deep shadow being brought to the surface to make you really do a deep, deep check on yourself, so that when the changeovers happens, you're as light as you can possibly be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think it's important, even though we're not here to. I mean, I am actually a wellness coach as well, so I do always like to talk about health, but the diet, changing our diets as well, so that our bodies are lighter. And I'm not going to dictate to anybody about, you know, being vegan or this, that, and the other, because everybody is where they're at. But
Do that in your own
I think
time.
healthier choices. Again, looking at that holistic view, the mind, body, and the spirit, is going to really help. Like looking at your diet and to really support you through the energetic changes as well. Because if you're really eating foods that are on such a low vibration, you know, like crap basically, junk food, it's really not going to support you energetically.
Yeah, well,
Whereas
that's
if
not
you
going to
eat,
support you physically, and it's been that way for
yeah,
many
yeah,
years. It's full of so much rubbish that the body can't process, and I think that's the problem. Like, if basically, like, we're not talking like don't eat burgers. Like, if you go and if you really feel like a burger and you go to a local butcher and get quality meat and mince it yourself, and get some quality bread from a local baker as well that source their stuff organically and stuff like that, that's not really going to be that much full of stuff. But if you go to McDonald's or Burger King or Hungry Jack's, KFC, those kind of places where it's just full of sugar and chemicals and all the other stuff, that's what your body can't process.
yeah, and it's just that way again. If you can imagine it like visually, like I see everything visually, like it's like a dense weight in your body, and you know, if you're already in that state energetically where you're dealing with a lot of stuff, it's just going to weigh you down further. It's really not going to help.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
If you have a
I
meal
would,
and you go to sleep, it's draining you energetically.
yeah. So like loads of live foods, like juices and smoothies with like live foods, fruit and veg, like really, really support.
Yeah. Basically, what we used to eat a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, what
It's
was
funny
meant to
because when the organic food trend hit, I used to say to people, going, "Yeah, in my day when I was growing up, I used to call it food.
be. Yeah.
It wasn't organic food; it was just food in my day."
Yeah.
And in a sad way, that's just an indictment of how it's gone, how much. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it will come back around, like with all the changes going on, all the healthy
Definitely
foods will
will.
come back.
I've noticed a lot of people really promoting growing your own foods and like coming up with some amazing solutions, because obviously I'm in the UK, and basically, I mean, I do grow my own kale, carrots, certain sweet potatoes, things like that. But for me, the season's over now. I've had my produce, that's it, because the weather's changed. But I've noticed that a lot of really, there's been a lot of good people sharing some really good stuff about growing your own indoors all year round. So
Micropodic, no, what's it called?
Yeah, like there's all sorts of different things,
there's
and I've really
there's the manufacturer side of it that are doing it, and there's a term for it which that isn't coming to me right now.
is it
You
that
can do it on a small
that
scale at home.
yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but there's an organic way of doing it that is not really expensive, because you can imagine, well, I'd need loads of greenhouses, I'd need loads of heat and stuff like that. No, there are cheaper, simpler solutions to grow in a small space by, I think it's like stacking as well.
And that's the thing I'm thinking of. You go and
Yeah,
find a local cannabis supplier and they'll tell you how to grow that stuff. They know how to grow
grow
stuff on the indoors. They know how to grow stuff indoors that thrives and flowers and everything. Oh yeah, with no chemical.
But,
We're not endorsing that, by the way. You know, just so we're saying, we're not endorsing that. Grow kale and vegetables and marrows and stuff.
Cucumbers and fruits.
Not marijuana.
So yeah, I've been led to sort of that. So they're the sort of things I've laid off a lot of this politics because it's just playing out, and I've laid off it. And there's quite a few people I've stopped following now on YouTube because again I've listened to Inside, and as much as there's a lot of truths, there's also that lead down.
You've got to follow your truth.
Sorry?
You've got to follow your truth.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I've listened to myself. I've got so far with them, and I thought actually doesn't feel right with me. And so yeah, I've kind of just come off a lot of research. I mean, again, I go on that cycle with it. There'll be a time when I think, right, okay, I need to dig a bit further about this, and I'll go back into it. But like you, I've just been in a bit of a lull. I've backed off from it all.
And with everything energetically at the moment, it is whacking our bodies out a bit as well. So checking on your minerals as well. So things like magnesium and zinc and things like that. Yeah. So that if you do need to go to a doctor's just to get a checkup to see what you're low on, as in iron or stuff like that, might be worth doing, because this change is affecting our bodies in different ways than it's ever done. And so when it comes to the diet side of things, listen to your body, because it's your body knows. Like, so if you still feel you need to eat meat, then don't allow the vegans and all that to pressure you into doing the otherwise. If that's what your body needs for the time being, also don't worry about it lowering your vibration or it not being of light. If your body truly needs that, that's what you've got to follow. Because, in time, your body will transition. And that's where you've really got to come from. When it comes to diet, you've got to listen to your body. I mean, you've also got to check in, of course, in that if you truly feel that you're just eating it because you can't be asked to do anything else, or you're forcing yourself to be a vegan because all your friends are doing it, well, that's not healthy either. And that's in that in turn is also going to lower your vibration and drain the light out of your system.
Yeah, and I think if you come in from a place of a low vibration, like say that you're very depressed or very anxious or in quite a bit of fear with things that are going on, what I would say there is you are likely to then to crave crap foods because
you've got some interference going on in the background.
Yeah, there's some aeroplane.
Oh yes, I thought I saw an aeroplane.
Let me close the window.
Excuse us.
That's funny. The fly just flew out as soon as I closed it.
There you go. So have you still got commercial flights then out your way?
I think so. Yeah. I mean that's actually really rare to hear an aeroplane because you don't really.
What? Yeah, but there's loads of air bases around you. I know that because I used to live in that area. It's all air bases.
Yeah, but that was
military jets are still flying.
Yeah, I mean you can tell the difference between the military ones flying from the local army, whatever. That was a proper aeroplane, and the skies have been quiet since this lockdown with aeroplanes. But yeah, I think flights are going on, aren't they? And
well, I've actually seen a couple. Well, they've opened up a few more while I was up in Early Beach. They've opened up a few more flights to there, but that's still internal from Queensland to Queensland. I saw another one over my house the other day, so I don't know where that was flying from and to. That could have gone from Gold Coast Airport north, so could have been going to Early Beach for all I know. It was going north, so it could have even been Gold Coast to Cairns, which again is still Queensland, and
Yeah.
Gold Coast to Cairns is something like. So I travelled 1,100 kilometres to get to Early Beach. I think Cairns is still another 700 kilometres.
Yeah.
That's how big Queensland is. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even know how big it is compared to England. You'd be able to fit England into Queensland probably about 5 or 6 times over.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's mental. And the thing is, like, people do that a lot in Australia, travelling 16 hours to go away for a few days.
Yeah.
I thought when I first got here, I'm like, you must be mad. And I've been doing it since. And I'm like, okay, they're not mad.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Like, whatever country you live in, you do adapt, don't you? Like.
And it's strange enough, it's not draining. 16-hour drive feels a lot tiring, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Not really.
I think I'd have to do some stopovers.
Yeah, well, I was stopping to fuel up and toilet breaks, and on the way up,
Yeah.
I stopped for an hour's sleep simply because we left at 11 o'clock at night the night before. So
Yeah.
I was in my normal sleep pattern anyway, but on the way back, we left at 5 in the morning, got back about 7 o'clock at night, didn't need to sleep.
Yeah.
Didn't even get tired.
Was there a weather shift then, or was it?
No, the only thing is it gets a bit more humid further north.
Yeah.
So the weather's a bit more stable. So the Gold Coast can have really, really hot days, but Early Beach, it's normally around 25, 26, 27. It sticks around there, but but every now and again you do get cyclones and things like that, because they had a big one hit a couple of years ago, I think, which wiped out Early Beach almost. Which you don't really get them as far south as the Gold Coast.
Yeah. Nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that you've had that break, because a lot of us are getting a bit fed up now because we're under such restrictions. Is your area still being restricted much? Or
It is, but because Queensland's, to me, it's never really affected it. But saying that, it's all about our thoughts creating our reality. So I've never bought into all the fear. And because of that, my outer reality has reflected that back. Whereas, it's had its challenging moments with things being closed and, not being able to go to the shops at like 7 at night, and but basic stuff that you can easily change your routine to get around.
Yeah.
So, and it's enabled me to quit a job I didn't want to do anyway. Well, I didn't quit it, that the business shut down because of COVID, but it enabled me to get out of that. And they're saying, that's enabled a lot of people to do that.
Mm.
And if you look at it from a positive perspective, which you've pretty much got to do, if you don't buy into the fear and look at all the masks and all the division and what the mainstream media narrative is, you stay away from that and stay central to your own life and what it's providing you. It'll provide you with challenges, of course. If, for instance, it's putting you financially under strain, that's giving you the opportunity to change your belief around money. That's the gem in that. That's the gem in that. If it's got you out a job that was your kind of, you needed that routine every day, but you didn't really like the job, well, it's got you out of that. Then look at doing what you've always wanted to do. There's plenty of online courses. I
think I said this in the first video, that it's like a mass meditation for yourself, like to go inwards in this situation. And it's about family time, bringing the family back together. And like you say, if there is financial strain, it's either about really sort of getting creative and like, what do I want to do? Like, it's kind of giving people that opportunity. And things have naturally fallen away. Like you said, that business closed. I guess people that have worked there have obviously had to.
Yeah, it was just one of those debt slavery jobs. It was a job I needed to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Food, and I didn't want to do it. It was just a necessary. And nobody wants to do that kind of work. People want to wake up, be happy about what they're going to do in that day. and love the work that they do. Because who was it who said many years ago? Might have been in Confucius, said, you know, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the word work. I've started to use the word contribution, because to me that feels much more
aligned,
beautiful for me. And you know, it's not fully in my vocabulary yet, but I'm trying to remember to say the word contribution rather than work.
And
again,
that's where the world's coming into, isn't it? It's coming into that tribal stuff again, where we are going to, once the big changeover happens and Sarah kicks in and all these things kick in, it's going to be all about what can I contribute to society?
Yeah.
Not what I can go and do to work to fuel my own life, but what can I contribute? How can I help others? Because when you help others,
even the word work, the energy and the vibrations from it is not of the highest, because work, when you say the word work, most people associate it with the word hard work.
Yeah,
you know,
and I don't have the word hard in my dictionary unless I'm talking about density.
Yeah, and so
I've changed it to challenging.
The energy of contribution is beautiful, because you're contributing to your own needs, and then you're contributing to society, so for the good of the earth. So
yeah, well, there's a few people out there starting what's it called? Can't remember the name of the thing that he's trying to start up. I think he's almost got one set up in Australia. Umbuku.
Is it like communities?
Yeah, it's the Umbuku. I think it's called Umbuku, where he's basically creating communities that, for you to be part of that community, as long as you do 3 hours a week contributing to this tribal society, and then you'll have access to the free internet and free electricity and all that kind of stuff when it rolls out. And that's what it's all going to be based around. So all you've got to do is 3 hours a week to contribute. I mean, obviously you can do as many as you like, but you've got to do a minimum of 3 hours to contribute as part of the tribe. But that's how it used to be in the tribal days.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was part of the tribe. So, you know, if the child was everybody's child, the grandparent was everybody's grandparent. You know, as the tribe, you looked after them. As the tribe, you protected them. As the tribe, you worked at their welfare. It wasn't just your kid wasn't just your responsibility. That kid was everybody's responsibility. So if the child was messing around when he shouldn't have been, then whoever was nearest could pull them up and go, "Oi, be better." We'll pack that in.
Well, yeah, and then you would have the elders, the wise people. You'd have the healers, like the medicine woman or man. I mean, I can visualize that again in this golden age. The way forward is because we are all one, and we're coming back to that oneness. We've been in separation since this cabal has been in charge, which I don't know when it started, but for a long, long, long time. And all it's been about is separation with religion, politics, everything has been to separate us.
Yeah.
And we're coming back to that oneness and that helping each other, contributing towards each other. And again, my visual, each morning I'd really recommend this to everybody, because the planet really needs this right now, is as every morning as you wake, put your hand on your heart and visualize the best, highest new earth that you can. So for me, I see animals all being free and beautiful, all the coats are shiny, and I see communities, see children happy. I visualize our water clear and clean, our foods, our growing our own vegetables that taste absolutely amazing. Whatever it is you can visualize on the highest, do that each morning, and then do that before you sleep on a night, hands on the heart, and really visualize that, and we're helping to bring that timeline in.
Yeah,
So
that's a very beautiful
really
thing.
needed.
So, yeah, definitely do that, everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're under rules.
Yeah.
To do that.
I've also put some pictures together to help me, because again, being a visual person, I've found some beautiful pictures of like animals and nature and things like that. And so sometimes I'll just flick through those. It'll just help me have that bit of a better visualization just as I'm either waking up or sleeping. So yeah.
No, and that's a beautiful thing and beautiful way to be. And the other interesting thing is, as well, as like once we come back to this oneness and this tribal way of going again with the energy and everything, the gifted ones and the healers and that, they'll be revered again. Well, not revered is probably the wrong word, but they'll be respected. That people will know that what they do is real and has a profound effect on them. Because we're still very, we're not as shunned as we used to be, but we're still sort of going, oh, you're an intuitive healer. They still kind of go, not sure about that. I don't think it's real. But it's like, well, everything's energy, right? Yeah. Well, that's what we work at. We work at an energetic level. So you're saying that what we do isn't real, but you believe everything's energy. Yeah. You can see there's a bit of a gap there. Yeah. You complain about chemicals and stuff like that, but you'll go down to the chemist and pop a pill that's full of chemicals. So there's a bit of hypocrisy there as well. Yeah. And but yeah, it's just habits, and it's about having the courage to face the narrative and not believe what you've always been told. Because everything, again, with everything that's coming and the changeover that's coming, there's going to be a lot of things, including me and you, that we're going to go, oh, so that's not true anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and a lot of stuff in history is not going to be right.
Yeah.
The truth about history,
most of it.
Yeah, pretty much all of it. Yeah. There was never any dinosaurs, apparently. But again, like we don't know until it actually comes out, and even then, whatever comes out, going back to what you were saying earlier, whatever comes out depends on what your level you're at in readiness to accept it as your truth. If you missed it for a couple of years, that's still your truth and your journey. There's a reason for that. There's always a higher reason why you don't follow the same rate of pace as anyone else.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I mean, I think things. I know there's a lot of people saying, "Well, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen?" With that sort of like impatience. But I think things already are. They have been shifting.
What was the clock? What was the clock meant? What was the 10 past 10 clock mention on the Mickey Mouse clock?
Yeah, do you want to just share that again?
Yeah, so that's a Q post. That is basically going, a Mickey Mouse clock showed 10 past 10. And in 11 days' time, we've got the 10th of October, which is 10 past 10. But all the minute strokes up to the 10 were all red, and they're calling it Red October. So tomorrow is the 1st of October. So it's going to be an interesting month. And this is what we're talking about now for those that are watching. It's all about the Kabbalah side of things rather than the energetic side of things, even though it still plays a big part. It's more what's happening on the physical realm rather than the energetic realm. And so it's going to be an interesting month.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I was saying that things are already creeping out. I mean, I'm seeing sort of just like the language of things slightly changed.
Well, there was a mainstream media post talking about there's definitely human fetuses in vaccines. So that's a big one. Creeping to the surface.
Yeah.
And what have you come across?
Well, I can't remember specifics, but I'm kind of like come across things, even like say if I've been buying something on like Amazon, I've come across like I came across a Tesla healing tool actually on Amazon. I was like, wow, that's great. You know, I've not seen that come up before.
Well, you know what the biggest one is at the moment? People, and there's many posts on this, and you can do research on this. But again, if you're going to do research, use DuckDuckGo. Don't use Google because it's highly censored, but use DuckDuckGo. That dog deworming tablets plus zinc kills cancer. And there's many people that have had cancer have said, yes, I've done this and I don't have it anymore. And you can buy it for $9.99. Instead of all this chemotherapy and all this stuff, go and get dog deworming. Obviously, anybody that's watching that has relatives that have got cancer, blah, 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 look into it and make sure you look into it properly. Find the people that have done the course. Anything about that. Yeah, that's a big thing at the moment. That's because it's, what was the chemical, what was the drug that they mentioned? Because they actually mentioned the actual drug. And it's in the UK. You can get it in the UK. It's, I can't remember the name of it now. No, I should have written it down. If I knew I was going to be talking about it, I would have written it down. I would have told it. And
you can always put it on the show notes.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. Yeah, what I'll do once I've got it uploaded, I'll make a comment and I'll put it in the comments about what this. I've got to find it first. It was on Twitter.
Yeah.
And but it wouldn't be that hard to find. Dog deworming that kills cancer. You know, Google, DuckDuckGo that, and do the research on how to administer it. And it will get them, but the people saying, yeah, it clears leukemia, brain tumor, anything. Pretty much all cancers. Yeah, because of, but again, that's what the big pharma never wanted us to know, because that they've made billions off the whole population off cancer.
Wow. I mean, I saw on a few, actually from Charlie Freak again. I know I mention him a lot, but I really resonate a lot with Charlie Freak and Colleen. I think they're amazing. And they were talking about, now I cannot pronounce this word, but it's to help combat a virus.
So hydroxychloroquine.
I think it's that, through the peelings of fruits.
Yeah. That's quinine. You're talking about quinine.
Yeah, grapefruit and oranges, and you boil it up, and with a lid on the pan so that the vapors stay in the pan, and then you drink this liquid.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to really, really help.
And what it also does is gets rid of all the heavy metal dust that they've been spraying from chemicals.
Yeah. The space dust, are they calling it?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because what was supposed to happen was when the 5G was activated, according to some people, when the 5G was activated, this was supposed to activate the space dust that we have
breathed in
through our bodies or through our skin, and it was supposed to not do great things, obviously, for our body. And so this mixture that Charlie is talking about really helps get rid of these space particles. And also, it's tonic water has already got it in it.
Yeah, any basic tonic water, quinine.
But it's got a really small amount in. Obviously, you get more if you do this procedure. But it's on one of the videos with Lakash and Charlie Freak, and there is a link. I think it was something like video 5 with Lakash, and underneath there's the recipe for it if anybody's interested.
Yeah, it's quinine. Yeah. But I think there's a recipe for hydroxychloroquine as well. That's which is that's the hydroxychloroquine, which gets rid of all the space dust. The quinine is for the COVID, which is it's just for the flu, you know.
Yeah.
It's like anything. It's because it's coming from peels of citrus fruits. That always worked for the cold. You know, you think more often than not, if you know, when you had a cold growing up, Mum would give you hot honey and lemon.
Yeah.
Which was
Natural.
essentially, which would have been a weak version of quinine, because it would have had lemon if it was proper lemon, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, natural products.
Yeah, well, honey's a natural antibacterial anyway.
Yeah.
Like I once went to, so up in the Gold Coast, there's a place called Bee World, and basically you can go there, and they show you a beehive, and it's got like the glass, so you can look into it. And they were showing us that when I went, and this was a few years ago now, and they were showing us that a gecko had got in to the hive, and it was against the glass, and the bees obviously attacked it, killed it, and then what they did, they wrapped it in all the beeswax and honey and everything, and it stopped it from rotting. Basically, killed all the bacteria, everything, and this gecko is just perfectly preserved. And that's the kind of thing bees can produce. It's just in, you know, nature at its best, that stopped a creature from rotting. So therefore, it would wipe out the hive with all the germs and everything. And they just created something that killed all the germs and preserved.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I know, and all they produce. I think bees produce 3 things: honey, wax, and royal jelly. And it's highly it's one of the most effective antibacterial things on the planet. And they get that from pollen, from flowers.
It's all in nature. It's all in nature, isn't it? There's plants that we don't know what the purpose is, but there is purposes for everything.
Well, that's what you think. Anything that's been classed as a weed, trust me, that'll have medicinal properties.
Absolutely.
Because like I used to have this wart grow on my thumb around there, and I read somewhere that the white glue-like substance from dandelion stems kills warts. So I scraped it off one day because it wasn't very big. I could scrape it off, and then put this white stuff from the dandelion stem. It didn't grow anymore. And I didn't do anything to it. I did not do anything to it. I just scraped it off, and then put the dandelion stem glue that you get from it, and killed it. Didn't freeze it or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing what nature produces, and and which is why, like, if you know, the Chinese herbalists are great people to go to because they still use a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they'll use acupuncture and then give you a load of weird looking plants and tell you to do stuff with it, and it works. I don't know how it works, but they know because they've been using that technique for thousands of years. Long before Western medicine came along and claimed to be better. It just claimed to create more profit. That's what Western medicine's done.
Yeah.
Made us sicker. Oh yeah, no. We'll get something basic. We'll give you something that will make it worse, and then we'll give you something that's made it worse, and we'll keep giving you more and more and more. In other words, we'll just keep selling you shit that you don't need.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like the messages at the moment is to, as much as, you know, if you are like in the lull, and again, as Roy has said, just like to look after yourself as much as you can, and like it is a time to like really think, if you want to change direction, like what part are you going to be in this new world? What do you want to contribute? And if you're in fear, you really need to be going into that heart space and really connecting again into that heart space. I mean, I'm not saying just wipe out that fear and just click like that, because the fear is there for a reason, and it must be also worked upon and integrated. Any sort of lower level issues that are coming up, if it was depression, I'm not saying you just get yourself out of it miraculously, but I'm saying that connecting and breathing, again, taking that slow breath right into the belly and connecting into the heart, you'll get more answers downloaded to you as to how you can help yourself to integrate these lower level vibration feelings. And again, that visualization of the new earth, what part you're going to have in it will really, really help you. And trying to just go with the flow. I mean, that's a message for both Roy and
it's be in the moment. Like, you know, if you're in fear, a good little technique is to tell yourself what you're doing right there and now. So if I dropped into fear right now, so okay, I'm talking to Nikki, I'm doing a podcast, I'm telling myself what I'm doing right in this moment, and then you're taking yourself, because fear is always based in the future or the past. Fear is never in the present moment. If you're feeling fear in the present moment, that's not fear, that's danger. Danger's real, fear is an illusion. So if, like, you know, if you're stood there and a tiger's literally in front of you, that's danger. You're feeling danger, which feels very different to fear. And it's all about, so when you bring yourself into the moment, then tell yourself what you've got. Look around you. Like right now, okay, I could be fearing that I've got no money, and I'm going, well, I'm at the moment. I've got a roof over my head, I've got food in my cupboards, I've got money in my wallet, I'm on the internet, my phone's working. How am I? Where's the issue?
Yeah.
You know, and most people, anybody watching this will be able to do that. Everybody watching this will be able to do that. So, you know, therefore you've got plenty to be grateful for. And then all you have to do is look in the background at what stuff you've got, and you'd be grateful that you've got stuff. And then that will help you. That doing that kind of thing actually raises your vibration, because you're then stepping into a place of gratitude. You're grateful that you've got the internet. You're grateful that you've got a roof over your head. You're grateful you've got a bed to sleep on. You're grateful you've got cupboards to put your underwear in. You're grateful you've got a phone that you can contact all your friends with and play games on, or whatever you do with your phone, you know, look at YouTube and all those things. It takes a minute to be grateful for 100 things.
And you can be grateful that your heart is beating. You can be grateful that you've got water, you know, to drink, food in the cupboard. You can be grateful that you've got family love around you, sons, daughters, whatever, siblings, mothers, fathers. You know, bring it back inside as well, and just be grateful for everything that you've got.
Gratitude is definitely one of the strongest energies to raise your vibration with.
It's a high vibration.
Second only to love, I believe. Gratitude.
Yeah.
Because when you say those things, you're learning to love your life, and you've created all those things. All those things that you're looking at and grateful for, you've created.
Yeah. And again, when I was talking about that visualization in the morning and the evening, when you can visualize that new world, that's when gratitude also comes in, because you actually visualize that beautiful, whether it be a nature scene or animals or communities together, contribution, whatever it is, you can get into that love state and that gratitude as if you're already there and you're already in it. You are visualizing yourself as it. So then that's when the gratitude comes in, and you know, you're on that higher vibration.
And if you want to know what you're going to contribute in society once all the changeover happens, look at what you're passionate about. That will give you a very big clue. Because you're definitely not, if you're going to a job that's just paying your bills, you're not passionate about that. So it's not going to be that. But if you come home and you've got a hobby that, you know, that you like, growing stuff like Nikki, well, there you go. You know, you could be part of the tribe that does all the growing of the plants and stuff. See, me, I like fixing things. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. If I can, I'll try and fix it. Mechanical stuff, you know, I'm no mechanic, but just in general, you know. So I'd be the odd job man, I would, but I'd be the healer, you know. I'd be the guy living on the edge of the village. I'd be the wise one. Can you tell us how to fix? They'd come up and go, can you tell us how to fix this? Hold on, let me download
it. I think we've all got. I don't think we've just got one gift. I think we've all got many gifts, but it's like where that, like as Roy says, that passion comes. So I mean, again, with me, I like people to feel beautiful about themselves. So not just talking about external, although external beauty is okay as long as you are dealing with the internal beauty. And so I really like to help people to get to that state of beauty inside. And then also I do within my works, I do things that support the beauty outside, but it's always, for me, it's always the inside. It's an inside job.
Yeah.
So
for me, the external beauty side of things for me is that if you're looking good for you, so if you're like doing your hair and wearing nice perfume or aftershave in my case, if you're doing that for you, that's loving you. That's where the external beauty, as long as you're doing it for you and you're doing it to make yourself feel good and you're not doing it for anyone else, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And so my passion is to like really help people to get into that state. So, you know, I don't know how that would look in a community, but
don't need to know right now, do you?
It probably looks similar to how it is now. I do have coaching packages for inner radiance and things, but I don't know. I mean, I'm open. I'm just open. And
yeah, and for those that are watching, Nikki's great at what she does. So if you want one of those radiance packages, just get in touch.
Thank you.
Once she gets her website up and running, there'll be links to it at the end of the video. She ain't got it up and running.
Yeah, I'm still working on the website. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, leave a comment on the videos and she'll get in touch.
Yeah.
If you want some good exercise, then go and do the quantum flow healing, because that's definitely exercise.
Well, actually, I mean, no quantum flow practice is ever the same. There is actually a sitting practice that you can do. You can actually do the whole process sat, and it depends. Again, I used my intuition at that time, and you needed what you needed, which was a little bit more energetic. But if somebody really needs like grounding, for example, we'll probably sat for most of the session, and there'll be exercises that we're doing with our breathing, sounds. We might move our hands, you know, in certain positions to the heart and to the stomach or whatever. But it could be a sat session for a whole hour, an hour and a half. So, yeah. But, yeah, and I mean, I need to like promote Roy as well, because his work's amazing. I had a couple of sessions with him, and so
yeah. Well, I think you've had one of my coaching. You've had one of my mentorship sessions, and also healing.
Yeah. Do you want to just talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. So, my mentorship. So that's probably my thing. I love teaching. That's the way I uplift people. I give people knowledge of themselves, so then it gives them the freedom of choice of where they go next on their journey. You know, I'll guide them a little bit and go, well, look, this is your next level. This is your next step. I like to level people up, because we're all very, very gifted human beings. And a lot of us aren't playing to the level we should be playing at. And to be perfectly honest, that grates on me a little bit, because it's like, I don't like people playing small. You've got these amazing gifts. Like, to give you an example, I'm currently working on my telepathy. That's where I'm working at. That's the level. I'm working with seagulls at the moment, so I'm starting small. But that's something that presented itself to me while I was away in Early Beach. And it kind of worked. So I was looking at this seagull one day, and I was like, just mentally saying to it, come close, come close. And it stood there looking at me. Like, you know, and I'm like, okay, this isn't working. I felt a bit silly. Then all of a sudden, outside of me, this far away, this seagull comes from behind me and stands there and looks at me. And it's like, okay, so I've got a bit of fine tuning here. I was talking to the wrong seagull. Or, you know, maybe I've got to be aware of this, all the seagulls around me. I don't know. But
you didn't have a bag of chips with you, did you?
No, I had no food. They didn't come to
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I've made sure I took that. I'm very good with experiments. I make sure I think about all the variables. And if I had a bag of chips, it would have negated the whole experiment. But at the same token, what I also did with seagulls on the same trip, and this is a sort of thing that you can do. Like, if you don't feel silly doing this stuff. The power of our mind intuitively is far beyond what we give ourselves credit for. So I work a lot with energy. Like I work at soul energy, but I also work a lot with energy in general, because everything's energy. And if you've got the mind to create something in that moment, and you've got the power of will to believe it, it will happen. So what I did was, this was when I did have food. I mean, I've gone away with my son, and we sat on an outdoor area. You know, the outdoor areas you get at the beaches and that, it's all uncovered, but it's got a roof. And so this one was long enough. It had 3 stanchions, one at either end and then one in the middle. So we were sat on a bench that was between 2 stanchions, and there was about 3 seagulls. And as soon as me and my son got sat down and opened the pizza box, you know, the seagulls' heads were up and they was coming towards us. So what I did was imagined an energy barrier between the 2 stanchions, and the seagull walking to it stopped dead right in front of where I put this energy barrier. But there was gaps on the side, so it went to one of the sides. So I put an energy barrier up the side, and as soon as I put it up, it stopped and went the other way. And then I put one up this side and thought, well, you can hassle the people that side that aren't doing any energy barriers. You can go and hassle them. But then just for a further experiment, I decided to make the front barrier mirrored. And you could see the seagull literally looking at its own reflection. You know how animals and people react when they're looking at their own reflection? They don't know what it is, especially you see cat videos doing it. And they're going, and they don't quite know what they're looking at because they're looking at themselves and they can't quite figure it out. And you could literally see this seagull doing it. It didn't quite know what was going on. And it was like, and what was also interesting was about 4 or 5 minutes, some people walked past, and it had to jump out the way because, you know, didn't want to get too close to humans, just doing its natural thing about getting away from potential danger. And it went through the barrier that I'd put up. But as soon as the people had walked past, it went straight out again with intention. It's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be. It's like it wasn't supposed to be there and got out again. But it's just fascinating to watch. And I created that just through the power of my mind and believing that I am this powerful being. So that's what I give to others. I show them what they can do. I show them their abilities, no matter what level they're at. And sometimes look, a lot of people I've worked with have gone, yeah, well, I kind of know I can do that. Then step it up. Practice. That's what it's called. I say a lot of people, especially these days, more so than ever, it's called a spiritual practice because you have to practice. And yeah, sometimes I'll try stuff that doesn't work and I feel a bit silly. But, you know, I'll keep working on the seagulls with telepathy until I can hone it, and then I'll step it up to maybe a crow. Because they don't listen, you know, or a magpie, you know, the stronger minded, the stronger willed creatures.
Yeah, so people can get in touch with you because are you going to put your website at the bottom of this if they're interested in a healing or?
Yep. So yeah, there'll be links. There'll be the the little screens that come up at the end of the videos. They'll come up with links to there'll be links to the other quantum healing videos or quantum energy talks, and there'll also be a link to my YouTube channel and my website.
Yeah. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes, like and subscribe because we want to get to enough so YouTube can ban us for talking about this stuff. We want to have enough followers so YouTube starts censoring us. That's when you know you've made it.
What, when you're banned?
Yeah, when we get censored for talking about stuff that they don't want us to talk about because it's waking people up.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good time to finish off now then. Yeah, I mean, not masses of new information for people this time, but just reassurance, I think, just to
ride the storm, because the energy is really, really heavy at the moment, really intense and really stodgy. It's hard going energy wise, which is creating that physical world hard going as well. So be kind to yourself for a start. You know, do those exercises that Nikki said, because that's going to help raise your vibration as well. And get out in nature.
Yeah, ground yourself, bare feet on the floor, the best foods that you can afford and that you feel, you know, will
Pick your battle.
live foods. I always recommend live, you know, vegetables, fruits, things like that. But again, and also as Roy said, don't beat yourself up if you're not totally being as clean as you can. Just listen to your body, and just try and look
I
at
always say,
that.
like, because another way I help people is break habits, and I do it in such a way that I give you time to do it and do it in a soft way that opens you up. So if you're breaking, let's just take smoking, for instance, instead of trying to do it all in one go, in the beginning, win more than you lose. So, you know, if you have, in the beginning, if you were smoking 10 cigarettes a day, and the first week you have one day where you only smoke 7 and the rest is still 10, that's a win. Because that's a step towards cutting it down to 7 every day. And then celebrate your win. Because a lot of people go, well, I only cut it down to 3. I'm still smoking 10 the other 6 days. That's irrelevant. You look at the step forward you took. There's no point in focusing on the habits that you're already doing, because that's still fueling that habit. So you're focusing on the change of the habit, and that's where you direct your energy. And you'll notice that the more you do that, the quicker you'll actually shift that habit. And that applies to any habit.
Yeah. So again, people can contact you via your website if they're interested in any of that. And so
yeah, and just like Nikki on worldwide, you know, with Zoom and everything, you know, energies, doesn't matter energy wise if I'm in the same room or not.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, everybody, and
thanks for tuning in again.
I'm sure we'll be checking in again next week with more news, or hopefully.
Yeah, well, hopefully there'll be a bit of a more positive change energy wise, and it'll feel a bit lighter.
Yeah.
And and we'll have a word of the week next week, because Nikki's great at making up words that sound like real words that we're going to try and our damnedest to make into real words. And
I'm just making my own language. That's all.
Yeah, and I can't remember this one. She had this brilliant word that was just a twist on a word that exists, but it sounded, I can't for the life of me think what it was now.
I'm really pleased you can't remember it.
But it was just brilliant. It's one of those comical things, and it's always good to end on a comical note, on a bit of humour. Was it? I'm sure it begins with an I. Intriguingly.
I can't remember either.
Intriguingly, or something like that. It's kind of something that Ned Flanders would say. So, on that note of us smiling, we will say good evening and good afternoon, because we're on completely different time zones here. And we'll speak to you again in the coming days. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And all the details will be at the end of the video. Contact Nikki through the comments, and we'll get back to you. And I'll remember to put that dog dewormer drug in the comments.
Yeah.
If I find it.
Yeah. Have a great week, everybody.
Yeah.
See you soon.
And for those in Australia, enjoy your long weekend. And welcome to October.
Bye.